Now at 5, RTV6 is working to better the quality of life for one family at their wits' end over a problem they say a city snowplow caused at their home they have lived in for over half a century.
He says he and his wife were tricked into adopting someone who wasn't actually a child, but the court says they abandoned a girl and fled the country. The new developments in this strange case.
Just amazed because maybe they shopped at Marsh, so they're saying this is where the deli section was and this is the freezer section.
Where there was once dairy and produce, now you'll find desks and sensory classrooms inside the transformation of this formerly abandoned grocery store.
This is RTV6 News at 5, working for you.
Good evening to you here at 5 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. New tonight, the city of Indianapolis is now threatening to take control of a parcel of land after a company backed out of developing it.
The city plans to use eminent domain to take over the former General Motors stamping plant site on the west side in order to, quote, ensure necessary development. Well, the current owner, Ambrose Property Group, backed out of a plan to redevelop the site last week. Those plans had called for apartments, restaurants, and retail on the 103-acre site.
RTV6 is working for you and getting results. After months of calling the Mayor's Action Center to report a broken sidewalk, family members of an East Side couple turned to us for help.
Tonight, our Nicole Griffin is now getting answers. She took their concerns to the city, and we've gotten a resolution for this family.
The service request for a broken sidewalk here in front of a home along Emerson Avenue is still open. It's a request that the family who lives here put in January, and now they are still waiting. They tell me they want the city to fix it.
I hope this gets it done.
Benny Napier has lived in his East Side home for 60 years. 8 months ago in January, he remembers waking up to a loud sound. He looked outside to see a snowplow stopped in front of his home.
The next day or two, when the snow melted, the big piece of concrete was laying in the yard. And I thought it was a safety hazard, so I called.
The Mayor's Action Center confirms a report was made on January 24th. Since then, a spokeswoman says 3 escalation emails have been sent to the Department of Public Works. But now, here we are in October. The sidewalk is still broken, and that piece of concrete is still laying in the yard.
It doesn't look like a big thing, but it's a big thing for my aunt because if she can't get out, she's just stuck then. And if she needs to go to the doctor, she needs to be able to get out. And this is their backup sidewalk to get out.
I took the family's concerns directly to DPW. After my email, a crew was sent out to inspect the area. After months of waiting, Benny can now expect to see crews out repairing the sidewalk on Thursday. Working for you on the East Side, Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
Thanks, Nicole. And we originally heard about this couple's problem through our Call 6 tip line. When we see issues like this, we feel passionate about helping. If you need something done and no one else seems to care, connect with RTV6. Email us at workingforyou@rtv6.com or find us on Facebook.
RTV6 is working to shed light on an East Side issue. A woman is trying to uplift her community and open a daycare center in an area that needs it. But she says she's having issues with people trespassing and vandalizing her property. RTV6's Stephanie Wade shares her effort and sees what's being done to stop the crime.
Well, you can see the sign behind me here reads childcare coming soon. The owner wanted to open a childcare on this side of town near 21st and Emerson because she says there's a lack of quality, affordable care in the area. But she says she's struggling to do that because of recent crime. What's your concern?
My concern is the safety of the children. That's my main concern.
You don't want to bring kids around here if there's crime.
Absolutely not.
Kiana Williams is just weeks away from her Angels of Hope daycare opening on the East Side. But she says a vandalized fence separating her daycare from Emerson Place apartments is allowing unwanted guests to trespass. She put this plywood up and moved the dumpster in the way to block anyone from coming onto the property because behind this, there's no fencing. Surveillance video even spotted a man snatch part of the gate in the middle of the night, then drag it onto the apartment complex's property. The daycare owner says police agreed to add extra patrols to the area to curb the crime. Emerson Place Apartments is also owned by the Millennia Companies. Hear what they're doing to make repairs in the coming weeks at 6. Working for you, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
Thanks, Steph. And you are looking live at the Indianapolis Zoo here from our Salesforce Tower Cam. We'll have some news to share with you about the zoo coming up at 6. But right now, the big story is that unusual fall heat. It's hard to ignore it if you step outside.
3 in a row. We've set 3 records in a row. We haven't had a single day this month. It's only day 2 with temperatures not in the 90s. All of this is going to change in the next several hours. Now, we'll have to be patient. We're going to step backwards tomorrow as far as temperatures, but you don't really feel a huge change till we get to Friday. Unusual here. We set the all-time record temperature for October yesterday, and then we went and tied it this afternoon. There are your 3 days in a row. There will not be a 4th. Temperatures right now, upper 80s in New Pal, Greenfield's at 89. Everybody within a degree or 2 of 90 degrees because of the fact we've had clouds develop through the afternoon, a little cooler to the north. Then the frontal boundary is there. I want to show you where the cooler area is. Chicago's at 59. We're at 91. Then you see the 40s in Minneapolis compared to 90s here. This will be pushed to the south, and we'll have a change in the air the next several days. Our chance for thunderstorms minimal tonight. They don't disappear totally. I'd say a 20% chance. You can see the clouds are starting to build. I'll take you through the evening planner and to give you the full forecast and the temperature relief coming up.
New at 5, the man accused of abandoning his adopted Ukrainian daughter and fleeing the country is hoping the court dismisses all charges against him. Michael Barnett and his ex-wife, Christine, are charged with neglect of a dependent after investigators claim they adopted a young girl in 2010 and then abandoned her in 2013 after having her age changed from 8 to 22. Barnett's attorney says the couple were the victims of fraud and claims the girl was not actually the age she said she was. Today, Michael Barnett filed to have all the charges against him dismissed. A hearing has been set for October 15th.
Police are still looking for the shooter who sent an employee of a plasma center to the hospital. This happened around 6 o'clock this morning on the south side at the Saturn Biomedical Plasma Center near Madison and Hannah Avenues. Officers say a woman had arrived for work when 2 men came in and demanded money. When she told them she didn't have any, she says they shot her in the leg. That victim is expected to recover. She told police the suspect sped off in a black SUV. If you have any information that might help detectives in this case, you can leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers. The number is 317-262-TIPS.
A dangerous and rare mosquito-borne illness has killed another person in the United States. This as 2 Indiana counties conduct aerial spraying to combat the sickness, which has led to at least 10 deaths nationwide. The virus called Triple E has been found in several horses in Elkhart and LaGrange counties in northern Indiana. Both counties authorized the spraying this week. There have not been any human cases in Indiana, but cases have been confirmed in neighboring Michigan. And some states like Connecticut have seen several deaths. The virus can cause brain infections.
Before and after, what used to be an abandoned Marsh store is now vibrant and, more importantly, useful for preschool children in central Indiana. This week, Golden Bear Preschool opened its doors at the formerly shuttered Marsh on State Road 44 in Shelbyville. The abandoned building had been vacant since 2011 until 2018 when Shelbyville Central Schools saw this as an opportunity to expand on early childhood education. This week, the district invited hundreds of people from the community into Golden Bear's halls to take a look at all the changes, and the superintendent says they loved it.
It was an abandoned eyesore for multiple years, and so when you take that, you look outside the building and you know it's a place where students are learning. It's just wonderful.
Indianapolis-based Schmidt Associates helped carry out the school's vision, adding fun details like a special 4-foot-tall front door for kids, indoor and outdoor play areas, including a rock wall, and a senses facility for sensory stimulation and assistance for children with special needs.
They are stepping into a huge week across the globe. The Pacers have landed and are drinking everything in as they get ready for a huge international game. The blue and gold landed overnight, our time, in Mumbai, India. The team posted some video photos to Twitter showing them getting off the bus and starting to practice today. They were greeted by that shot of their own Miles Turner on the wall of the airport. The team also spent some time autographing a lot of merchandise ahead of the first ever NBA games to be played in India. The Pacers will play 2 games against against the Sacramento Kings. They happen Friday morning and Saturday morning Indiana time.
Well, the Colts are preparing for a Sunday night showdown with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The team practiced this afternoon at the Colts complex on the northwest side. The Colts are trying to move on from Sunday's loss to the Oakland Raiders. But Sunday, Indianapolis will be entering a hostile road environment, and the Chiefs are expected to be a Super Bowl contender. This is also a rematch of last year's second-round playoff game between the Colts and Chiefs, a game that Indy lost. Sunday night's game kicks off at 8:20 p.m.
Indy cars are turning laps out of IMS today, and the results could help save the lives of IndyCar drivers in the future. IndyCar is taking a very close look at its new aeroscreen safety system. The new clear structure encircles the cockpit. Scott Dixon and Will Power turning laps on the IMS Oval today. The new feature is designed to keep debris away from the driver's head. It's one of several tests that will take place over the next several months on a variety of different tracks. The new aeroscreen is set to debut at next season's first race in Florida. Our Brad Brown will have a complete report on today's test coming up shortly on the news at 6.
Heading your way on the Now Indy at 5:30. Staying in shape in the winter can be tough, so if you find a deal on a treadmill, you'd be crazy not to take it, right? Well, why one mom wants to share her mistakes so you don't get taken for a ride, coming up on the Now Indy.
But first, it's an item meant to make parenting easier, but it turns out it may carry a dangerous risk. The recall you need to know about if you have a baby in your life.
And I had to work hard, but look what I found. One little shower just to the southwest of Crawfordsville. Is that the beginning of more? We'll talk about that coming up.
Boy Furniture Galleries. Live life comfortably.
This is breaking news from RTV6, working for you.
Breaking news tonight, a Texas jury has just sentenced former Dallas police officer Amber Geiger to 10 years in prison for shooting and killing a man she thought was in her apartment, but it was actually in his own apartment. Geiger was facing the possibility of life behind bars. The same jury that just sentenced her found her guilty of murder yesterday. Breaking news that we're following here at 5.
And new today in Democracy 2020, Vermont Senator and Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders has had to temporarily drop out of campaigning.
He was hospitalized after experiencing some chest discomfort during a campaign event Tuesday last night. Now, medical tests found that he had a blocked artery. The campaign says that he got 2 stents inserted and is now in good spirits, but they have canceled all of his events and appearances until further notice. The 78-year-old is the oldest of the Democratic candidates in the field.
New developments today in the battle over impeachment. The president lashes out as he demands the identity of a whistleblower, while the Secretary of State confirms some major details. Our Rachel Scott brings us the latest from Washington.
Thank you. In Washington, the battle over impeachment, inciting a feisty and fiery debate.
They're a disaster. They're the do-nothing Democrats.
We see the actions of this president being an assault on the Constitution.
President Trump in the Oval Office airing his frustrations, sharpening his attacks on the Democratic lawmakers investigating his actions.
We don't call him Shifty Schiff for nothing. He's a shifty, dishonest guy.
The president's still reeling from a whistleblower complaint, alleging he abused his power by repeatedly urging the president of Ukraine to help investigate his potential 2020 rival, Joe Biden, and his son.
The call was perfect.
That conversation triggering an impeachment inquiry into the president. And listening in that day, his Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo.
I was on the phone call.
But House Democrats taking the first step on a long path toward impeachment are facing a roadblock. Pompeo rebuffing their subpoenas for documents to have 5 current and former State Department officials testify.
We won't tolerate folks on Capitol Hill bullying, intimidating State Department employees.
Despite Pompeo's objection, 2 former staffers have already agreed to come before their committees. Back on Capitol Hill, House Democrats gave a press conference, and the president wasted no time weighing in, using profanity in one of several tweets he fired off attacking Democrats. President Trump calling out the whistleblower.
Look, I think a whistleblower should be protected if the whistleblower's legitimate.
Democrats now in an all-out effort to protect the person who sounded the alarm.
The president wants to make this all about the whistleblowers. It's an incitement to violence.
And in an exclusive interview with ABC's George Stephanopoulos, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said President Trump is scared of the impeachment inquiry she launched last week, adding the president knows the argument that can be made against him. Rachel Scott, ABC News, Washington.
The FBI is investigating after someone says West Virginia's mobile voting app was nearly hacked during the 2018 midterm elections. The U.S. attorney says someone tried to hack into Votes, an experimental app letting certain voters cast their votes from their phones. The U.S. attorney says the integrity of Votes was not compromised, but an investigation is now underway. West Virginia is the only state currently allowing that system.
Starting tomorrow, lasting through the weekend, you can celebrate fall's arrival at the Newfields Harvest Festival. It's the festival's first year, which is billed as a culinary event. It will feature demonstrations and workshops by some of Indy's culinary artists, including chefs, brewers, distillers, and artisans. The Harvest Festival will also include an infinity mirror room with the theme, All the Eternal Love I Have for the Pumpkins. The Harvest Festival starts tomorrow and lasts through Sunday at Newfields, and I saw some of the pictures they've been posting on social media, and it looks really cool.
And I'm sure Mother Nature is finally getting her schedule.
It's going to feel
right
a little bit more like fall to go there.
Yeah, we've got fall-like temperatures. No frost in the forecast, but at least we're going to turn things below average for a while. That's
nice.
Quite the change, isn't it? 26 days, we've had 90-degree temperatures or above. Most recent contribution, our 92-degree today. High today, third day in a row for that. Let's look at these temperatures. Northwest Indiana already feeling the impacts of a wind shift, and you can see cooler temperatures there. It's in the 50s in Chicago. Well, it's 93 in Bedford, temperature 82 in Peru, 91 in the metro area. Notice the darker clouds, and if you were out this afternoon, you'd see the cumulus clouds building. All of this ahead of a cold front, which will bring the temperature change, and we've had a few showers pop up. The organized area of rain is right along the front to the north and west and north, but I do think within central Indiana we'll see at least a couple of pop-up showers. To the map we go. Let's go into Montgomery County. That one little shower is now down to a vision test. Can you see this? Just to the west of Newmarket, and the State Road 47 will slide to the north and east. Had a couple showers there. I'm going to put this in motion for you, and you'll see how they pop up and then disappear. See that? There they are. There they go. We have not been able to sustain any consistent rainfall. Tonight, I do think through the evening, these very isolated pop-up showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, then it will really be overnight that we have a little better chance of rain, especially to the north. Say hello to Portia. She and all the other animals that like to be outside will find it a lot more comfortable over the next few days. Thanks to Mike Colazar for sending in the picture. Notice then we do have that isolated chance for a shower or thunderstorm this evening if you're out walking, and temperatures still very, very warm. Let's go through the overnight. 11 o'clock tonight, not much happening. Then we go through the overnight hours. This generated by the cold front, which will bring the big temperature change. 4 a.m. showers, thunderstorms mainly north of a Lafayette to Peru line. As we wake up in the morning, any chance for showers very isolated, but I wouldn't rule it out until the front goes through. How do you know when a cold front goes through? Temperature changes, but the wind will change direction too. Wind out of the south in the morning will turn to the west and northwest by evening. Tomorrow's a transition day. You won't feel total temperature relief tomorrow. We'll still be in the low 80s tomorrow afternoon. The real temperature change comes on Friday and into the weekend. Friday's high temperature, 68 degrees. We'll wake up to the 40s Saturday morning. Chance for some thunderstorms Saturday night as another push of cooler air will come in, and that will knock our temperatures back into the middle to upper 60s for 3 days in a row, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
There you go. Now it's more pumpkin spice, more like it.
There you go.
Yeah, I was still having my pumpkin spice regardless.
Regardless. RTV6 is hiring Hoosiers, works to connect you with the jobs and resources you need. And good news for opportunity in Morgan County. A designer and manufacturer is expanding in Mooresville. Creative Works says it plans to create up to 70 new jobs by the end of 2022. The small business is going to invest $1.1 million to continue growing at its headquarters at 350 Bridge Street, and construction plans are about to be finalized. Well, still ahead on the news at 5 here, a heartbroken family is now overjoyed at a surprise verdict in their loved one's murder. Now a former police officer waits to learn her fate. We'll explain the breaking developments in this case coming down.
And right now we are taking you outside for a live look from the top of the Salesforce Tower in downtown Indianapolis. And on the Now Indy, we'll take another look at when a cool down is coming. You're watching the news on RTV6.
This Friday only at Ashley Home Store.
In case you're just joining us, this breaking development, a Texas jury has just sentenced former Dallas police officer Amber Geiger to 10 years in prison for shooting and killing a man she thought was in her apartment but was actually in his own. Geiger was facing the possibility of life in prison for the death of Botham Jean. That same jury sentenced her guilty of murder yesterday. And working for you with an RTV6 recall alert, parents listen up. IKEA is recalling one brand of bib due to a problem that could cause your child to choke. IKEA says the recall is for the Mavra bib 2-pack coming in the colors red and blue. According to the company, there have been 2 reports of the snap on the bib detaching, which could result in a choking hazard to your baby. You can return these bibs to any IKEA store, including the one in Fishers, for a full refund.
New research shows taking antidepressants while you're pregnant could increase your risk of gestational diabetes. A new study looked at more than 237,000 pregnancies in Canada. Out of those pregnancies, more than 20,000 included cases of gestational diabetes. And among those cases, more than 1,100 women had also been exposed to antidepressants. Gestational diabetes can increase the risk of complications for both you and your baby.
Well, now at 6 p.m., the Indianapolis Zoo is expanding the plans for several new acres and where the land came from.
But first on the Now, Indy Next, lifting up a community in order to develop and revitalize. The city is now adding another neighborhood to its efforts in raising the bar. The area that's getting the millions in funding over the next 3 years, ahead at 5:30. You're watching RTV6.